Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 104 of Direwolf20 Server Play Series. Just me today, all by myself. That's a bummer, but that's okay because we've got a lot to do. I've since turned off my farm and moved all my drawers that were holding all my farming goods. What I want to do is kind of figure out exactly how I'm going to do this farming thing. I've been actually plugging away at this and I can't find a good way to do it. And I'm going to explain to you guys why I'm struggling. I originally wanted to interact with these seed slots, and let's say that we had enough wood. We could just no longer put apple oak saplings in there, right? So no longer get wood because we no longer have oak saplings in there. And then we could say, all right, we have enough potatoes, we stop putting potatoes in, right? The problem is every time this machine harvests, okay, so for example, we turn this thing on, it automatically puts items inside this slot on the left first before it throws items into the slot on the right. So watch what happens with potatoes, for example. Oh yeah, your output's full because you're not piping anywhere. Haha. Look, potatoes go into the left slot first. That's a bummer. That's a bummer and a half because it means that we can't prevent items from going into these slots, even if they're not locked. I tested this in single player. The other bummer is that we can't extract items from these slots. I tried using a handful of different mods and had no luck. So, what does that mean? That means that there's no way to stop this farm from doing potatoes unless I walk over and take the potatoes out manually, right? And that kind of stinks. I have to figure out a good way to manage the farming of what I want to do, but it's definitely proving difficult. I might wind up just having 2 small farms instead of 1 large one that have a set of items, so like maybe 4 places each, right? And then what we could do with that is just say, hey, monitor all 4 items, and as long as we're good on all 4 items, turn on the farm or turn it off, right? So once we have enough potatoes and hemp and ender pearls and wood, then you can turn off the farm. And if we're low on wood, but everything else we have enough of, we'll just void it. Oh well. So I think that's probably what I'm going to wind up working on, but I want to just give it a little time to see if I can't find a better approach. In the meantime, I've been moving stuff. So last episode, we moved our refined storage system. Soren's also been a little bit busy off camera. There's so much to move. It's crazy how much we have to move. I might wind up today, I'm going to move my chunk loading ward. Wish I could remember where I placed all my chunk loading wards that I have. That would be super cool. Because I know I've got a few out there just kind of lingering. I might want to take my dragon egg generator. I might want to take this thing. I'm just kind of cleaning out stuff. I'll eventually move the alloy smeltery and sag mill system. What else do we have here that really could be moved pretty well today? All right, I can't fly anymore because I just moved my dragon egg and I no longer have the grid power for flight. Good to know. Handful of things that could be moved. What I think I'd also like to do is move this Tesseract, which is my primary provider of power on Dire T-Chan 1. So I think if I pick you up, you're also configured to what? Nothing with items, nothing with liquid. So all this thing does is send power. So this should be hooked up. Yoink, come here, you're with me. And I'm going to put that in the void base. I was also considering moving the solar panels today, but I'm not sure that I'm ready to do that just yet. Let's open up another inventory to fix that little derp of a derp. This stuff doesn't seem to be too much of a problem right now. I'm debating what kind of power systems I want to have, because I'd like to have a, like I had here, a passive gen with solars, right? So we'll have constant solar power because it's an eternal day age, right? And then when the power gets to a certain level, kick on tier 2 power, which might be the endergenic generator. It might be, I don't think I'll use combustion engines. These guys were cool, and they worked actually pretty well. They might factor in at some point. We'll see what our power needs are. But I'm thinking endergenic generator might be fun to build, and I haven't done that yet in this series. And then tier 3 will be the deep resonance stuff, because that's pretty rare in terms of hard to get resources. So for example, when we want to flip on the Enderman farm, or any other farms that draw huge amounts of power, deep resonance might, play a factor there. But we'll see. For now, let's get this stuff over to our void base. So teleport over and we'll see what kind of progress we've made void base wise. Hooray, we're here. I have to be careful because I can't fly for the time being. One of the things we'll definitely want to do is have this power system up and running. So you're here, right? Boom. With the dragon egg on top. Can I fly now? Oh, so much better. We're also going to want chunk loading ward, which I don't think Soren's put down yet. But I'm going to put it like right plain and obvious in the middle of the chunk so that if he has put one somewhere, he'll see that that's there and get rid of it because it's not necessary. But now this 3x3 chunk area is loaded, which is cool. We'll also want dimensional transceivers. What we've got going on down here, I don't know what he's got by way of power distribution. How is he getting power into this? I'm guessing it's a dimensional transceiver. Yes, there it is in the center. Cool. Which is low on power, ironically. What buffer was he using for this? Let me guess. Dire T Chan 1. No surprises. He also hasn't lit it up well enough down here, which I keep yelling at him for, and could probably fix myself, but now I'm just trolling him. Let's get... Hopefully this is online. Nope. Everything's dead. Because I moved my dimensional transceiver that was feeding it. Alright, so let's get... you can pop in with a configure output. Okay, so you're draining nice and quickly. Boom, boom. What's your actual change in power fluctuation? Can I... Out, 572. Nice. That would be kind of good to know. All right, so that's what our current usage of power is. Across whatever's tapped into that power line, we're using 572 RF per tick. Now, I'm thinking I might want to make a new channel just to make sure that there's not random stuff out there in the world, because I don't even know. Like, we have the old original base, we have the base that I lived in with T-Liv. We're going to probably have this be new. So what I think I might do is make a new channel. Dire Soren Void. We can remove this and add this one. Okay, so now there should be literally nothing going out to it. This thing should be pretty much filled up, and you really shouldn't be sending power anywhere, buddy. I don't know why you're using 11 RF a tick, but somehow you are. That's funny. Well, it's all good. I should also move the battery that taps into the wireless RF transmitter. So what if we set you... How are you getting power still? See, this is one of those funky things. Tesseract, you're no longer sending on that system, which is weird to me. So let's pick you up. So you should be at 0 now, or 1. Okay, now the local buffer is dying. Cool. So then we can remove this, Dire Soren Void. Your buffer should be full again. And the same over here. So again, we're just going to be powering the Void base with this new power channel, Dire Soren Void. Cool. Nice. I like it. This thing is also receiving items on Dire Sort. So anything that goes to Dire Sort on the Tesseract channel is going to get sorted into my refined storage system, which, as you can see, Soren's been doing a little bit with Applied Energistics. And I've been moving all my resources over. So I've got like a decent little thing going on over here, I think. Yeah, we're making progress. What's in this gold chest down here? I assume that's Soren's. I don't understand. This is some kind of design that he must have done. He does that sometimes. Like, you know how I like to place things in the world to reference where they're going to be? He likes to do that. So we've got stuff and things, right? Solar would probably be cool. What I wouldn't mind doing is popping back to the old base now and seeing what kind of power use we have at the old base now that we've removed a majority of our stuff. And I'm thinking put solar in the new base, provided that there's nothing too crazy going on over here. So what are you doing? You're really not changing much. Let's remove you. So now you're losing 184 RF a tick. So our base at the old base is currently using 184 RF a tick. Power is going somewhere. I couldn't tell you where. Maybe these guys are running? No, they don't actually seem to be running. There's a... It looks like it's running, but I don't think it really is. What else could be using power here? This thing I want to move. So yeah, I couldn't even tell you what's using power at this point. There's just so much junk in this base. That's why I'm doing the void base, because I want to keep it clean. I want to make it nice and neat and tidy and know where everything is and how everything works. This just became a big jumble of mess. As much as I tried to keep it neat, I failed to keep it neat. All right, so that cut down on some RF usage. There's probably a few little things elsewhere being little power sponges, just draining power for whatever reason. You're a network receiver. Ah, that's right, I remember. You did things. Okay. I was wondering what that other network receiver was. I kind of forgot what I used it for. So at this point, I could probably move most of my solar stuff. And there's a large backlog of power in here. And I guess something will die at some point. The goal would probably be to stop chunk loading this area. At some point. It might be... I don't even know if there's power being used over here. Yeah, I couldn't even tell you where RF is being used today. But, oh well. Sure, things will start dying and I'll be like, oh right, I forgot that thing existed. At some point I'll move my Britannia stuff, but I don't think that's happening today. Let's do this. Let's get the solar panels set up. So I don't know what kind of roof Soren wants on this thing, but I assume he wants one. So, Ender energy conduits, please. So let's configure you for input. Because we're only ever going to have input on this thing. He'll probably yell at me for this. Dyer! Why would you build it that way? To which I will reply, because you did a bad job chunk aligning. See, that looks kind of cool. So now we have a net gain of power. A net gain of 1,433 alpha tick. Which means that, in theory, the way things are standing right now, the only power we need is solar. And that's kind of the goal, right? Regular day-to-day operations of the base should be strictly solar powered, right? When we want to flip on something like an Enderman generator, that's when this thing's going to come into play and start kicking on energy, right? Should we do an energetic generator as well? That's a good question. So enough creepers spawned down here that I got really nervous. So just to troll Soren a little bit, I just placed torches in random places all over the place. You should have fun with that. All right, I think I'd like to start playing with the energetic generator just a little bit. So we're gonna want, let's see, a pearl injector. That shouldn't be too big of a problem. And then we're also going to want some detectors. So I'm pretty sure that's from RF tools. We're going to want, not the simple dialer, sequencer, timer, counter, sensor, wire, where are you? Ender monitor. Pretty sure that's what we want. Let's get like 6 of those for now. And we'll try and set up something cool. We're also going to want the wrench, which I do have one of. Awesome. Smart wrench mode. Cool. So let's see if we can remember how this thing works. That's the challenge, is remembering exactly what happens here. So let's see, let's put them 3 spaces apart for now, and then we'll play with this a little bit. So if you remember back to my mod spotlight, we had a whole bunch of cool stuff that pretty much related to how these things trigger. Basically, we need to do a pearl injector, which I guess I can put here. And this will inject an ender pearl into this guy, and then we can link them and say this guy shoots his ender pearl over to here, this guy over to here, this guy over to here, and this guy back to here. And then they should loop around like crazy. If we bring up the help manual on this, we can see all the details about it. But basically, we need to trigger the redstone signal at the appropriate points. And you want the ender pearl that lands here to be fired 10 ticks, I think it is, after it arrived. So let's start this off. Here. So this guy will fire into this one, and we'll see if we can get this thing working. So for now, what I'd like to do is make it that when I press a button, it's going to trigger 1 iteration of the pearl running. At some point, I will probably expand upon this to make it run consistently. But let's get the basics of this system up and running. So we're going to want a signal here, and I'm going to go with white for this guy going in. And I'm also going to need my screwdriver. So you'll pretty much boop, and that'll be cool. I probably wouldn't even mind some. Is it called glowstone or is it called lamp? I think it's called, yeah, miniature lamp. Neat. Cool. And the white signal is basically going to just right over to here. Connect to that. So that's going to inject the pearl, right? Then we need to wait. Is it 10 ticks right after we inject the pearl into this guy, or does he fire right away? I kind of don't remember. Now, as I recall, we're going to fire this guy, and we want him to land over here 10 ticks after we activate this with a redstone signal. And we saw that it was going to be 2 ticks to get over there. So basically, we're going to want to activate this, and then 8 ticks later, fire the pearl, right? So let's get some pearls. Boom, ready to go. And let's see if we can figure out a very basic way to set this up. So what we're probably going to have... I probably want to do this with a lot of bundled cable. Tiny bundled wire. Woot. So we'll run this guy straight over to here. Okay, so that this will activate that. And I wouldn't mind having some of these guys ready to go. Okay, and then over to here, you're gonna activate this thing. And what we'll probably have is white's going to trigger it. But then there's going to be a quartz resonator that's going to delay the signal. Right? So you're actually, no, we don't want the quartz resonator to be delayed here. Let's maybe give each of these a color. How's that sound, right? So this could be... This would be no problem being white, right? Then we could have this guy maybe be orange. How's that sound? Okay. And maybe this central thingy here can be some of the manipulations. There's probably a much more efficient way to do this than I'm doing it, but I'm having fun. I'll figure out a more efficient way probably to work this later. But what we would want to do is basically delay our signals. So we'll say like white comes in, orange goes out. So then we could do something like this. White goes in, orange goes out, right? And that's going to be a delay of 8 ticks, right? So we hit the button, this activates right away, this activates, and it says 8 ticks later, activate the orange signal, which will activate this guy to fire the parole over to here. That sound like kind of a plan? Should we give it a try? Last parole arrived at 11. That's actually pretty close. Neat. Okay. So I could change this to make it 7 ticks. Last parole arrived at 10. Awesome. So that's what we want. So that's cool. I wouldn't mind having a sequencer here. Do we have any of those handy? We do. So let's set you to loop the cycle once, restart if new pulse arrives, and we're going to make you 1 with a delay of 1. So what this should do is shorten the duration of the redstone pulse, and when it comes in, it'll just be 1 tick in length. See how quick that was? Last parole arrived at 9. Aha. See, I was right on my timing, but because of the longer time that things were... Oh, I didn't want to rotate you. 8 ticks. Last parole arrived at 10? Yes, that's what I wanted to see. Beautiful. Okay, cool. I like it. All right, so that's not terrible. That's not terrible at all. You got a little funny looking being on the corner there. That might be a little minor bug, but that's cool. Okay, so that is awesome. So that's good. So the next cycle will be to here, right? So we're going to want to prepare you with a redstone signal. So let's run all the way down here. That's probably not going to look good at all. The click and drag functionality is not perfect by far, but it's still semi there. Still a work in progress mod for sure. Definitely some things to be tweaked. So let's say the next color that we're going to activate you on is going to be magenta. We're going to need more of this bundled stuff. And I would also maybe consider teaching my system here how to make it. You recipe set. I thought I made it so that it was well lit down here. Where did you possibly spawn from? Aha! Aha! Sneaky, sneaky. I think I saw some torches. There we go. Okay. Now, we were teaching you how to do this. So can I get bundled cable then? Let's get a stack. Missing wool. So we definitely have some string available. Right? Yeah. So let's teach it that wool can be made from string. And try that again. Stack. Cool. Excellent. Up here, by the way, it doesn't matter about lightness because sunlight. All right, so now we can get back to what we were doing. So we'll want to have magenta be the connection here. And magenta, so this will fire at tick 1. It takes 2 ticks to get there. So let's say it's tick 0, right? Tick 0, fire. 2 ticks to get there. So this fires 8 ticks after this dude. It's going to take 2 ticks to get over here. So we'll probably want to delay based on the white signal. Magenta, right? Now how long do we want to delay this for? So it'll take 2 ticks to get here. Right away, we're going to want to fire this dude. So I wouldn't mind doing a little bit of something. I want him to fire pretty quickly. Let's say this can be tick 6 is when this is gonna, well, yeah, tick. So you're gonna do it immediately. You'll be, let's say, two ticks? Yeah, because you're gonna activate immediately. You're gonna activate 2 ticks later. Right? And then 8 ticks later, you fire, and immediately you fire. So that should be about right. So we'll see if 2 ticks is accurate. You need to receive a redstone signal as soon as you receive your ender pearl. So we're going to want you to get a signal on white. Well, you might need a separate, maybe a separate color for, let's make you light blue. So light blue will be your firing signal, right? So you know what we could do? Let's make this yellow. Okay, so white, yellow. Your firing color will be orange and green. This will eventually be connected over here. Okay, and then you can be magenta and pink. Let's just go super compact, right? Because we can. Cool. And then over here, which we haven't configured yet, but we will. Can be light blue and dark gray. So one of these signals will be when to activate to expect your pearl, and the next signal will be when to fire the pearl. Okay. Cool. So we could have the quartz resonator sit here because you want the pearl to fire 10 ticks after you receive it, right? So we could do white to yellow with a 10 tick delay. Does that sound fair? Let's see what happens. Fired 1, lost 0. Charged 1 times, lost 0 RF. So that means it was actually pretty perfect. And you held on to your pearl too long, I know that. But what tick did you receive your pearl at? 11. Okay. So maybe this needs to be 3. Arrived at 10. Awesome. Cool. So then we can have another one here that basically says 10 ticks after. So 10 ticks after magenta, you're going to fire pink. Okay. So let's see how long you hold on to your pearl for. Last pearl arrived at 10, lost 0 RF. Awesome. And then, so you weren't ready for a pearl because we didn't set up a timer for that. But basically we're going to say, hey, quartz resonator. So this was a delay of 3 ticks from white. So this should be a delay of 5 ticks? I guess we'll see. So from white to light blue, we're going to try a delay of 5 ticks. Okay. And then what timing did that arrive at? Last Pearl arrived at 10. Perfect. And we lost a bunch of RF, but that's okay, because we didn't set up the timer here to say that when the Pearl arrives to fire it. So on light blue to dark gray should be 10 ticks. Cool. So what we should see here now is each of these will arrive at 10, lost 0, arrive at 10, lost 0, arrive at 10, lost 0. Beautiful. And you didn't arrive at any particular time, but that's cool. So you're going to need to be probably a slightly different configuration, because one fires the Pearl. The Pearl firing might be maybe light gray. I might want that to be the case. We've only used orange over here, right? So we could change this to light gray. We could make this light gray. And then we could have orange like that. Could be cool. So the last timing that we're going to need to do is when to tell you to wait for your Pearl, right? So if it's been 3 ticks, 5 ticks, this will hopefully be, I'll put it over here. You can be, so you're going to be white in, yeah, orange out, right? At tick 7 is when you should expect to receive your Pearl. Last Pearl arrived at while idle. Say what? Oh wait, how'd you turn blue? Yeah, you were supposed to be orange. Boop. Last Pearl arrived at oh no wait, yeah, you were blue. Hold on. I changed the wrong one. So white to orange. Pearl arrived while idle. Why would you arrive while idle? Interesting. Are we out of pearls, by the way? Yeah, that doesn't help. Pearl arrived while idle. Why would you arrive while idle? I feel like I'm doing this properly. Might have to troubleshoot this a little bit. So you're... Everything else is still working, right? Since I changed the grayness thing. Arrived at 10, lost 0, arrived at 10, lost 0, arrived at 10, lost 0. Might have to refire this one. Yes, arrived at 10, lost 0, arrived while idle. So I might have to play with the timings a little bit. I mean, what I could do, just out of curiosity. Arrived while idle still. Why would you arrive while idle? So tick 0 fires. This guy lands at tick 10, 12 or 13, 15-ish, 17 or 18. And you're activating at 8 and sending the signal to orange, which is here. This is definitely orange, right? What if I made you lime green? Just for giggles. Arrived while idle. Interesting. I'm gonna have to play with this a little bit. You know what it is, probably? I know what it is. It's because we're activating this endogenic generator at tick 7 or 8, but he's not firing until tick 8. So that's his problem, is that he's not firing until after we activate the pearl thing saying, hey, wait for a pearl. There's your problem. So let's try. What I think I'm going to do is play with this a little bit more off camera. We'll come back next episode and we'll tweak it a little bit and see if we can't get it working. Because we basically need it to get here after that 7th or 8th tick. That's the problem. We need it to arrive after. So we could tell one of these guys to hold on to them for a tick. He'll lose a little bit of RF doing that. Or we could make the distances further apart so that there are 3 ticks in between instead of 2 on probably the lengthwise ones. And then we'll be in good shape. I don't know. Let's see. For now, we're going to wrap up the episode. So Darryl20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll come back next time and continue work on the Energetic Generator. All right, guys. Take it easy.